Hello, voters. It's Rita Zielinski
And Lou Miles.
And we thought we'd come together once again. We did a first video together back in the beginning of our campaign, and we had put together some boards that represented the system and why our education in the public schools look the way they do. I'm just gonna show you. You might recognize that we had outlined Chippewa Valley, and you don't have to try to read it. You may recognize the boards, and if you didn't get a chance to see the video, I strongly suggest that you go back and seek the knowledge that we were trying to give you. That was the corporations and associations, and then I did another board that we discussed, which was the MEA, and the breakdown of all the different organizations and associations that fund the MEA, and why we see so much in the public school systems and a lot of it that we don't like, and where it's coming from. So with that said, we wanted to make this video as kind of another educational video, kind of showing you the wild ride that we took from the start of our campaign up until now, and kind of how what we showed you on those boards has played out somewhat live time. And we want to have you informed, and we want the people educated to vote for change and to get change. So with that, Lou?
So a lot of the stuff, a lot of the organizations that we touched on in that first video, some of those are in play in what I'm about to show you. I have a timeline, and we have the full timeline and all the receipts for anybody that wants to see, but due to time constraints, we won't be able to get into that. So I'm going to touch on a few things, go over a few key things, and then we can kind of cover the rest later on at when we have more time to do so. So I'm going to go through a timeline as quickly as I can here. April 9th, there was a post by Monica Radico in a CVS, an online group, asking if anyone was going to run for CVS school board, and stated at that time she was undecided if she wanted to run again. April 10th, we called a meeting, Rita, myself, Terry Prince, Monica Radico, with the four of us to discuss who was going to run and who would the best candidates would be to run. They were undecided. Rita and myself both stated that we were ready to go and file that day. We were ready to jump in and start doing what we had to do to make change. We've been investigating and researching and looking into different things with the school district for years. So we have a lot of information, and we're ready to start using it. So we figured we would file. Again, it was undecided who was going to run. They said that after hearing we wanted to run, then they decided that they wanted to. We said we would kind of hold off, let them do their thing. But there was a lot of inaction and not a lot of
Confidence.
Not a lot of
that they really
ambition,
wanted to do it.
Ambition to do anything at all. So after all that plays out, we'll go to April 15th. Monica texted us and said she was going to run. Terry texted, said he was going to request a nominating petition to try to save the $100 filing fee. We'll skip to May 10th. After seeing nothing happen from either one of them and hearing nothing about what their plans were, Rita and myself went down to file. Immediately after we filed, we called a meeting with them and let them know what we did so that they would hear it from us versus hearing it from somebody else. Excuse me. May 20th, Rita actually announced on social media that her and I were running, whereas somebody commented about Terry and Monica. Terry said there was a plan and a couple people decided to ignore it. At this point, this person says maybe a phone call from some influential people in the area will help, and she was happy to make that call. May 22nd, which was 12 days after we filed, we get a phone, and of course, we were the only candidates filed up until this point. We get a phone call, the influential phone call that was mentioned before, from a Monica Yatuma from Oakland County. She states that we are not the right candidates, need to withdraw from the race so that other candidates can run, at which point she was told there is no other candidates filed. And she says, excuse me? I said, yeah, we're the only two. There are no other candidates, so I'm not sure what you're trying to get at here. Anyway, aside from that, that was May 22nd.
Well, she had stated when she called us separately, and on that first call with me, she had stated that she did ask what was the scoop with Monica, Terry, and the four of us, and that she was putting, basically that she thought that Monica and Terry were much better candidates, and that Lou and I didn't have a chance, and that she had decided that, pretty much, that's how she said it, that they were the ones that she wanted to support. So we needed to back off. And like Lou said, they had not even filed yet. So go ahead. Well, actually, this is when she had asked Monica Radico, this Miss Yatuma, to set up a group conversation, a text conversation, and Monica Radico did. And within there, Monica Yatuma had made a few statements, and I think they should be shared, because I think a few of the things that she's done then and through and up until now, even a few days ago when she called me, once again, even though I, for the record, have stepped away from the campaign and will be relocating to where I will be ineligible to hold a seat. But regardless, she had, I think Lou should. I think it
so
represented.
I'm gonna read a couple of the text messages from her during this group conversation. She starts out, "That's unfortunate to hear, and unfortunately, without the cooperation and support that Rita and Lou originally promised, you will end up costing all conservative parents those 2 seats, and everything you have done up until this point will have been for nothing. All the tireless work that organizations like mine have been doing, you will be throwing a wrench in and making our jobs more difficult. What you need to understand here is the bigger picture. We have an entire state to save, not just Chippewa Valley. If you can't get past your ego and work together, then you will find very powerful organizations work against you. Monica and Terry, should you choose to file, you will have my organization, GLEP, as well as other organizations and resources and door knockers and phone bankers to support you. Please get with me separately. Lou and Rita, you're wasting your time, energy, and money. You won't win. I've seen this play out before. You'll just learn the hard way. Best of luck to you." There's a few other comments in between, to which she replies, "Nobody reneged. You chose not to respect the strategy they chose, which was waiting to file. The numbers do matter. They're all that matter. I appreciate the heart and passion here, but numbers don't lie, and I've watched your school board meetings. Lou and Rita, the people in the middle, won't vote for you. You are what they consider extreme. It just doesn't work. I know none of you are well versed in the data or the politics behind these races, and my hope was to get you to understand this on the call. But based on your responses, I now understand what needs to be done, and I intend to make it happen."
Stop for a second, because I have to interject and say, I have no numbers. This was the very first time I was running. So without even wanting to have a conversation or a meet and greet with me to find out who I was, I believe that Miss Yatuma stepped over a line there. And I don't know where her basis was, but she had no idea. And saying extreme, which I had responded to her, what we were watching was getting worse and worse. And now we're seeing it even play out and get worse in our schools. And I had told her back then that come November, a lot of voters who are now very much awake and paying attention are going to be looking for the people who are going to go in there and flip tables if necessary to get these schools cleaned up. And that Lou and I had intended and had done the research and were ready to do just that. That's what I said to her in the very first call. So go ahead, Liz.
So we'll jump back in. We'll go to June 11th, which was a meeting was scheduled with the four of us and a couple of other people to determine who the best candidates would be, so that before the cutoff date, we could kind of get it down to 2 instead of 4. Monica and Terry never showed up, so that was a little hard to come to. We'll go to June 17th. Monica filed to run, and July 1st, she announced she was running on all social media groups. I don't have the exact date Terry filed. I couldn't find it, but I'm assuming it's around the same time frame. June 17th, July 1st is when she announced. July 8th, when we tried to announce it on a Moms for Liberty Facebook group, Monica Radico, who is an admin there, declined it and then eventually removed the post and told other admins not to approve it.
Not to approve any posts for Lou and I
About
promoting
the campaign
ourselves.
because we weren't going to use the Moms for Liberty platform to promote our campaign. So that was a form of censoring there, if you ask me. July 10th is when Terry announced he was running. Now, again, he probably filed before that. I couldn't find that date, but the 10th is when he officially announced it on social media platforms. July 26th, Monica Yatuma again reaches out, only to Rita this time, asking, basically
she was
advising us to withdraw from the race to make way for other candidates that she felt were the better candidates. Not that the people felt, that she felt, being from Oakland County. Where are we at here? October 8th, we'll skip to there. Monica Radico posted an image on Moms for Liberty and other places, which was made by Monica Yatuma. It was a voter guide for all of Macomb County's candidates. Now, on said voter guide, under Chippewa Valley School Board, I was left off. It was only Monica Radico and Terry Prince. I was purposely left off. So that was posted. And
in multiple groups.
Yeah, and when it was on one of the groups, when it was one of the admin mentioned it and said that you can't do that, it's censorship. You can't exclude candidates just because you.
I'm going with election interference.
Just because you're promoting yourself. She then stopped comments on that post, and she took that admin and took her status away. When asked to be put back on, she said, "I will put you back on after the election." So she lost her status as admin. So again, there's some of the censorship and everything else that was going on. Now, I want to point out, during this time, there was 2 candidate forums that were going to take place. One of which was put on by an organization called We the County Macomb. I was the only one that responded to that.
Mind you, I had already put my video and stepped away from the campaign. So
Mr. Kuntz and Ms. Mahone did not even respond, despite multiple attempts to get a hold of them. And Terry Prince and Monica Radico
were advised.
Actually didn't even say they weren't going to go unless the other 2 would show up. So they said they were advised not to show up unless the other 2 were there. So that was the first one, and that got canceled, obviously, because there wasn't enough people. There was another one held by Michigan Education Justice Coalition. There was an email sent out to all candidates for this forum. Mr. Kuntz, Ms. Mahone responded that they would attend. I responded that I would attend.
And that was it.
Monica and Terry, again, declined to attend. It was actually a pretty good forum. I enjoyed it. It was good questions. But anyway, it just shows you that people don't want to engage, right? So I'm not sure how all that plays into any of this, but you can look at the timeline and look at some of the, the way these organizations work and see that this is a big deal. This is taking away our rights as citizens and our responsibility to pick who we want, who we want.
Well, I think too that as I complimented the people before, I think the people have come a long way. I mean, I know I have. I think that people are starting to see the influence that outside people that have big names, they have their influence status, they feel they have the tiara to choose and select and tell you what's best. I think that people are kind of coming around too, and they're better, they're more educated. But I think watching for us, it just play out in live time. And whether you've heard rumors or you heard half a story, I mean, that was the real intent behind the video, was to not only inform you and educate on kind of the inside view of how dirty politics is. And it doesn't matter which side of the aisle. This is how it's been. And it's up to you. I mean, it's up to us. It's always been up to us. And we were conditioned to think, that we needed somebody to tell us. So this is hopefully a push for everybody to take a real good look at all the candidates in every race, and to do your own research and critical thinking. And
just because you see a voter guide doesn't necessarily mean that it's the truth, right? You need to look for yourself who actually is running. If you go onto a county clerk's website, or you can see who the candidates are, because these people, they want you to vote for who they want.
Yeah.
So we have to be very careful.
That and organizations, we can't keep giving them all of this entitlement. And they're there some are there to help and push and get lawsuits together, and that's fantastic. But we really do need to come together as a community and as the people, and do the avenues that we need to do, whether it's hit up representation or get in those seats and make the changes ourselves. Because my catchphrase, as always, or lately it's more often, but through chaos, we find the will to change. And we've been in chaos. I mean, shoot, some of us eat it for lunch at this point. So at this point, though, the will to change. November 5th, Lou Miles is prepared to bring that change. And like he said, the receipts and all that, if you feel you want more, or if you're one of those people who want the whole story, then he's happy to provide
or if you just don't believe what we're saying, I have the proof.
I think, though, that this was a good idea. It was to have the video. It was a good example, and I think people can start to see it on all the other levels too. That so with that, we wanted to make this video, kind of the last one before the election, kind of bring back in that first video. If you didn't watch it, it's still packed full of stuff that you should want to know. And then, of course, to show, Lou's ready to get in there. He's got the research. He knows exactly what he wants to go and ask for and demand and look at, and flip tables where needed, or drag that stuff out into the light and have the community see it and want a conversation to be had, because change is what we need, and that's what he intends on bringing. So
any information, any questions, comments, concerns, you can always reach out. I've always prided myself on my ability to be transparent, and that's one of the things I'm running on. You can ask me any question, and I will go out of my way to answer it as honestly as I possibly can, with as much factual information as I possibly can. And if not, we'll look to where we can find the answers together and get them. We will demand people give us the answers to our questions. So we can go that route. And again, whatever you need, reach out and we can go over it. So thank you for listening. Thank you for your time. Have a good night, and we will see you soon.
Thanks.